Hello, Andri Rabetanety.
Hi, Jean-Yves.
You are senior lecturer in real estate finance at the Glion Institute of Higher Education. Is it right?
Yeah.
So you are giving lectures. You have students. You tell about the real estate finance to explain everybody how it works. It's such a complicated topic. It seems just telling about it. But the great thing is that you really are exploring all the hospitality business and starting with hotels. So you've studied hotels business and how it was interacting with the real estate interests, challenges, how everything was going to be integrated once you are working between real estate owners, hotel operators, etc. And when we met last year, we made a comparison with coworking. So this is something which has been told about, that coworking, the coworking market, coworking business was looking more and more like what we have seen in the hospitality business of hotels. And the idea was to discuss with you about the impact and how the real estate dimension of that was seeing also that evolution, and technically how we could figure out the co-working business to walk along the same pathway that we have seen in the hotel industry the last decades. So to start with, you prior to this podcast, we just mentioned the fact that you saw three big areas, or three kind of players which were involved nowadays in the hotel industry landscape, usually. So you were speaking about what is called affiliation.
Yes.
And
yes.
in affiliation, you have what you call the owners, the management, and the experience, which is the brand, actually.
Yes.
So can you tell us more about this model, and then we can speak about the co-working analogy.
Yeah. So the way it works in the hotel industry is that each hotel, as it has become a very complicated model. It required a bit of an explanation of what exactly is the business of hotel, and the way we described a hotel company was to give him what we call an affiliation. And there's an affiliation system that is described by STR, which is kind of a standard there, and it separates three different business. So there's the first, which is the ownership, so linked to the real estate, the one who owns the real estate. There's the management, who is responsible for the management of the operation, the rooms, the F&B, the spa, etc. And then you have the brand experience, what the customer will see basically when he goes into the hotel.
So if you are in a hotel business, you see if you walk along the street, you see a big hotel brand, you can expect that there is a owner of the building, which is not necessarily the manager.
Absolutely.
And the manager is not necessarily the owner of the brand or the operator behind the brand.
Absolutely. There could be complete separation of the three, because each brings a certain value in the chain. The real estate owner has the ownership of the real estate, and then the management has a specific experience. He has an experience of the management. He brings his own expertise to optimize the different key performance indicator. And the brand is really there to maintain a consistency between different type of location. So because you have this different separation, you can have one where the three is separated, one where you have an owner that is also the management operator, one that is the owner then contracted with a brand, and then there's a separate management operator. So you have there a very multiform system where you can have different players. But that's interesting because that explains a lot how the hotel business grew in the last years. So that helps understand exactly what exactly you bring in terms of experience, management, and ownership.
So you split. So again, we can say the real estate owner is just the finance part, or more the one who is managed to get all the financial structure, financially the fact that they can hold the building. And the operators, as we mentioned, is taking care of the F&B, of the laundry, of everything which is more like the task related to the management, and the brand is and the experience is the brand, as you mentioned. Is it a model that is new, or is it something that has been around for decades?
So it has been around for decades, and it started a long way back where, you know, in the 50s, most of the hotels were owned and operated by the same person. So the three functions were blended into one. And as they were challenged to grow, they had to separate each because it was faster to grow. So it was faster to develop through management agreement first, where it separated the old ownership to somebody else. So the somebody else were owning only the walls, so putting all the amount of capital to just have the ownership. And then at the beginning, it was all about just leasing back those big walls, which is very similar to what it is currently with the co-working. And then because you were leasing the whole units, then you can also separate the management, and the management will get a management fee for just managing the operation. And then for the franchise, it was just about paying franchise fee to someone who would give you the guideline to get a consistent experience. So because you wanted to grow very fast, hotels couldn't buy like very quickly a new building because it was way too expensive, and in some location it was very difficult to access because there was a shortage of available area. And here is the same. So the fastest way was to actually just develop through franchise. Just develop. You have now the largest hotel, Wyndham Hotel Group, who has only growing for franchise, and that is very, very big. And that's one way to think about what is really a hotel experience. Hotel experience is just about the fact that you see the logo, and by seeing the logo, you can open, you will find the desk on the left-hand side. You can the escalators will be further to the front. You know what type of service you're going to be offered. Maybe they're going to offer a drink, but the consistency is really what makes the brand.
And how about what's the percentage of the whole market which is working according to that model you are describing?
So they all work in that model, but the portion which is own operated, the portion that is leased, the portion that is through management contract, the portion that is franchised differs according to the brand. Now, the hospitality industry is what we call growing through asset light strategy. And the asset light strategy is all about franchise. So because it's the fastest way to grow, because you don't need to put down a lot of money into CapEx, you don't need to put down a lot of money to buy a building, most of the business is through franchise now. So it's moving to franchise. You have still remaining some portion which is still owned or leased, and that portion is a lot around luxury. The reason why you will find a lot of hotels managed through own building or own building or leased hotels is because they want to keep that location. So it's when that location becomes not a commodity where you want to expand pretty fast, but where you want to have a location that is key. You know that in that location, the building is so special. It has a history, architectural, delivers specific experience. You have to lock it down. Absolutely, Champs-Élysées. When you have the big Waldorf in New York, there's not going to be an exchange here. There's going to be still too much competition, because if that type of very exclusive hotels becomes up for franchise or up for management contract, everybody will bid. It's like, I want that hotel. I want that hotel. No, it's not even on the market. I will keep it for myself. So we can see some potential same evolution for co-working where, in very tight urban location, prime location, there's not enough nice building, grade A building, where some will expand through ownership, and the others in other less strategic location would just grow through franchise.
So that's the connection. So when you look at the business of co-working, which is also related to hospitality, you need a service, you need a brand, which connects to a certain experience. You need, of course, a building, and owning a building, running a building, operating all the services related to the facility management is something that is very hard to have all in-house. So indeed, we are hearing more and more about the franchise model in the co-working industry. You might have seen that, for instance, IWG, the biggest co-working operators now, since the WeWork story, is now trying to push as much as possible the franchise model. Some other brands, but for instance, at Coworking Europe conference, there was a brand called Andy's. They are also growing through franchise system, and they are not alone. So to you, what you expect actually, you tell it, is that the exact same model will be implemented within the co-working industry. That's what you are
exactly. I think it makes a lot of sense, because the whole co-working as hospitality will end up being a scale game.
Yeah.
So the whole thing will benefit from scale, because you have you have a lot of costs, and you want to deliver a consistent experience through different locations. So all the big brands, so they will create a brand, they will franchise, and they will finally get all the benefits of a brand. What are they in the hospitality? You have a central reservation system, you have loyalty programs, so you can create special perks that will apply to that brand. So that brand will basically be a community. So that's what you already have in co-working, but you call it co-working community, but that's that level of services to the brand that will flow through all the locations. So I see that, and the way this is going to grow is especially if you have real estate investors partnering with those brands. So if you have a fund that partner with a brand and just say, okay, I want to buy 10 different buildings, I'm going to put the brands everywhere, not fully on the whole building, but maybe a mix. So that's how it's going to work.
That was my other questions. Who picks which franchise? So you as a franchise hope that you put yourself on the shelf and hope that some people are picking it, and you give your terms. So is it the landlord? Is it the operator? So again, what do we see in the hotel industry that could be the right analogy for co-working?
Yeah, so you see both. You see the landlord picking the franchise, and you see the management operation picking the franchise. The reason being is that now that all those brands are very developed, you pick the franchise based on your customer target and your segmentation. So the good thing about hotels is that it develops so fast that or it developed over time, not fast, yes, but it created a very complex segmentation that you can rely on to know what you want to attract and whether you're going to be incremental to the market. To give you an example, if you know that in this particular market, let's call it the city, there's a lack into economy hotel. So you're going to pick the brand that is economy hotel. That's it, because that's the only way you're going to have some shares or good penetration into the market and not cannibalize everybody else. So that's the way you pick it, and the way you pick is just the one. Usually the landlord who wants to have a good business that pays the rent is going to find the brand that is going to bring all the customers. So one thing I see also in co-working that could be helpful is, and at least from the outside of you, because I don't know a lot, is clarity on the segmentation. Because as soon as you have clarity on segmentation, that's where you're going to find where are the white space. So in hotels, to tell you, it was a long road for hotels, because it started with the star system. So the star system, you had 1 star, 2 star, 4 star, 5 star. It was government led. And if you go from country to country, you probably had this experience. The 4 star in Paris is completely different than the 2 star in Madagascar, for example, or the 4 star in Madagascar. So it's totally different. It doesn't reply inconsistency. So they come up with other ways to classify hotels depending on the level of service, the location, the size, and they also have a whole segmentation based on the price. So STR again segments all the categories in terms of price, and you arrive at economy hotel, mid-scale hotel, upscale hotel, luxury, and you should have the same for co-working, because there you will find how to segment each of the space and then put each brand in each bucket, and you would see, and that's what is happening right now, is every time there's an empty bucket, they're going to create a new brand. And that's what they do. They create tons of brands. They create luxury brands, what they call lifestyle brand, etc., etc.
And who creates that category? Who is it? Is it organic? Does it come by itself, or is there kind of body that's select or grants the label that you are expecting, or is it self-proclaimed?
So yeah, it's a very good. That's a very good question. So for the star rating, you have a government. It's a
Yeah.
government body that gives the star rating. So that's very specific.
Yeah, and
For
if
the
you have
other,
the bottle of
yes,
lotion, and you have
absolutely. It's a,
yes,
you have a specific size of the bed, the
yeah,
room. That's very, very, very strange
yeah,
level of
yeah,
services. But you know that those are some criteria.
yeah.
You have, however, the STR class, which is there based on the price. So what they do is it arrive on the market because you have an intermediary that was collecting all the information. So that intermediary was collecting the price of all the rooms in US, and because it was basically it's a data game. They were
Okay.
saying, if you give me the data, I will not give you back the data of others, but I will give you benchmark. So with playing the benchmark game, they're just going to, in exchange of data, provided a service. But by having this amount of data, they could classify, and that's how they structure the whole thing. And that's very interesting because with that type of data comes a category where you can, for example, I don't know if one in one city can say how many co-working is in economical
Mm,
co-working,
mm,
how
mm,
many
mm,
desks are in luxury co-working.
mm.
That's the type of things that in hotel, if you enter a new hotel, you know what's the pipeline of luxury rooms, what is the pipeline of economy rooms, etc. So you have a better clear view of what's coming up in terms of segmentation of product.
Yeah, it applies totally in that way. It would apply totally that way in the co-working field. We can, yeah. For the moment, the people are just trying to figure out, or
Yeah,
when visiting, they make their own rating. And of course, luxury won't be. You won't consider a place luxurious there, where some person other will say, okay, yes, that's super good, that's super luxury, but I don't need that. I prefer to go to the cheapest one.
yeah,
uh,
and that's very good because that's when you can create new concept and actually improve the whole like game. In one example of that in hotels is Citizen M.
yeah,
So because people were
Dutch company, yeah.
yes, so because they were tired of the star system, because they was like so biased in the way they were delivering the star system. They just pick whatever was working from the 5-star, whatever was working from the 4-star, whatever was working on the 3-star.
Mm.
It basically come up with a concept of a luxury product at just 30% discounted price. And
Yeah.
that's how they completely changed the game. And I think this is a bit what co-working needs. It needs a bit of categorization to understand the level of services, the product, what really works for the customer, to come up with like the product for the target customer that you have.
Yeah, that's something. It's also very needed for the general public, because
Yeah,
for the moment, someone's general public, okay, now as opposed to 10 years ago,
yeah,
a big deal of the people know what co-working is, but they figure out something totally different. With how many people who speak about co-working who are not from the industry think co-working is just for freelancers and startups, whereas
yeah,
no, it's about the office market as a whole, just another way to occupy offices, or manage offices, and it's growing further. So as you know, that the big real estate companies expect 30% of the office market to become co-working, like
yeah,
by 2030. And but it's true that just helping the market to communicate about these different standards, level, expectation, and you add to that the suburb versus the centers and the
yeah.
countryside. That's something that, and but what you say is that this categorization, unless it's the state which take care of that or start to make the classification,
Mhm.
you have to expect someone to pop up and start to structure the market. That's
Yes, and I think it will come with as soon as there are central system for example, reservation or
mm,
data or understanding performance, that will come naturally.
yeah.
Because as soon as, for example, if you have online travel agent that all of a sudden will provide booking system for desk, like the kind of similar
There are already
activity.
plenty. There are already
Yeah,
plenty.
so if
Yeah.
you have that, then they have the information, so they can come up already with a segmentation. They can look, they decide, I'm going to take all the price, all distribution
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
price. I'm going to define 5 different buckets, and I just apply statistics, and then I split each bucket evenly, and that's it. I have my economic desk, I have my upscale desk, mid-scale desk, I have my luxury desk, and that's it.
So what you are saying to some extent is any co-working operator with a name which is established in their area should go for the franchise model and create their own package of franchise. No?
Oh yes, I would say that if I would be of course it's like that's the idea, but I would have some distinction. So yes, in general, if they want to grow fast in a lot of different locations worldwide, yes, that's the easiest. They won't need a lot of capital, and I think one thing that also was a learning from WeWork was that it requires a lot of capital. So basically, you have to find a model where you don't need that, and hotels showed that this was actually working. So definitely franchises wanted to grow. However, for specific location, I would definitely recommend to own, because if especially you are targeting super high-end luxury products where you need only triple A location and with kind of a story, something specific where people can relate, you won't that won't work with franchise. That's you need to lock it, you need to have it, and that's going to be the difference.
There is only one Waldorf Astoria, there only one Metropole in Brussels.
That's it. There's just only one. There's just no way. And that's where I think what's going to be scary for co-working is that because hotels already have such locations, they already have premium location. The biggest competition is that what about they start doing the co-working? They already have but like
it's
those premium. So that's for me what because what would I do? And there, maybe the hotels, because it's maybe not their core, they might think, okay, I'm going to give the management contract or the franchise to a co-working space that's going to be like, I don't know, I'm totally inventing, but let's say, I don't know, Quirk by one hotel brand or something like that.
Yes, no, we had a discussion with hotel consultants in Germany, where actually they made a report, and what they expect is that locations in tier 3 cities or more remote area where the co-working offering is still low because of the lack of education of the market, lack of demand, lack of density, and that the demand could be fulfilled by hotels on the local level. The issue is that on the counterpart, co-working operator, pure players say, or even some others, you don't manage short-term attendance where you manage longer term attendance because co-working the sales cycle and the duration of occupancy is different than what you would have in a hotel. So that's where the mismatch seems to be for the moment, but indeed that's the direction we see going.
Definitely. And I think I see also a couple of trends that were kind of still hot, but that helped in the growth of hotel. Like, since hotel was all about this experience, there was a constant chase to the gold standard of experience. So there's always a tendency to find a new level of luxury. Caravan, what's luxury today is going to be more luxurious than tomorrow. There's a competition of, you have 10 services, let me add one additional service, let me add these services. So I think there's going to be a level of that in co-working as well, where people would just like fight over, did you have that membership? That membership comes with that and that and that, and this is going to be the definition of luxury. So this fight over luxury, gold standard of experience, is going to be pregnant for the growth of co-working. And the second one was also the whole idea of independent hotels. So what's interesting is that the market structure of co-working is very similar to hotels in terms of independence people. So you have a lot of independent hotels that a long sea of, actually it becomes very complicated to count how many hotels there are in the world, because you have a lot of independent hotels here and there. It doesn't really Airbnbs, and like this is too complicated. But how do you put all those independent hotels together? So you would have the same problem with co-working. So yes, you might ask to get a franchise, but if they want to remain independent, they're not going to take the franchise. Or
is it supported sometimes? Because we see sometimes those hotels, and we see that it's Best Western. They keep the name of the hotel, but you see Best Western somewhere or things like
So
that?
if you see the name, that's definitely franchise. So because they have the owner, they have the rights of usage of the name, so that's okay. But
I
if
mean
they
the
really,
opposite. Yeah. So that's you are, I don't know, Hotel La Plancha, and
yeah,
it's powered by Best Western or part of the network of Best Western. We see
yeah,
that
so
sometimes.
that, yes, that's one of the thing that you can have, and an example of that is recent, which is called the soft branding. So you have real branding, which is the franchise, and then you have the soft branding, where in a sense you keep your independency.
Yeah.
So you keep on running the way you want to run. Nobody's going to tell you, oh well, this is how you need to put the napkin, this is how you need to present the things. So you don't have a whole
Yeah.
brand book to respect, and otherwise you're going to get kicked out of the franchise. But you will be part of your hotel by somebody else, so by Marriott, by blah blah blah. And the good thing about that is they leave you, because you have still a good a good community, a good experience, so they're okay to be part of of the brand, but they will give you access to the reservation system, the loyalty program, all the platform, the marketing platform that they've created. They will give you access to that. And
Yeah.
that's good. And I think that's also another way to grow, which is the soft branding to capture all these independents. So these soft brands allow to access, to have all the benefits of a chain
Mm,
with a platform with a lot of services that you
mm,
can tap to, but you're not constrained to have a specific experience. You can still, if you are a very niche, ultra niche player, you have a community of, I don't know, a specific real estate only workers,
mm,
brokers
mm,
that
mm.
goes into your co-working space, then what you do is you can still be, the co-working space for real estate by, I don't know, by Regus Spaces or WeWork or whoever wants to do the soft branding
But so that,
about
so
it.
again, if we take the example of hotels, there is room. We're speaking for independent players.
Yeah,
The long tail model works as well for, as it is in the hotel industry, will keep being vivid
absolutely.
in the co-working scene.
Absolutely. I think it will, you will still have the long tail of independents, because either because they're too small, or if they want to grow, then that would be through soft branding, franchise, but there will always be that long tail of independent, and that's fine. I think that's okay. That's okay, because from what we see from the hotel industry, they're still there, and that's good. The only thing is just whenever you see an independent hotel and you're a franchise hotel, the benchmark is always, totally different. You just say, oh yeah, but they're independent, so
Yeah.
they don't control well the pricing, they don't do revenue management well, they do completely different. So that's just it. It's going to be like this. You're going to have independent players, and they're going to be a bit, isolated from the market because they're special, they do it differently, but they'll still be there.
Fascinating, fascinating.
Good.
Great. There are so many questions we still have to. It will be for next episode, likely.
Yes, hopefully.
But
Yeah.
but no, it's really great, and those connections become clearer. And listening to you, it seems like okay, an obvious step that is going to take place. It's already taking place now, but although they're still quite foggy, and we don't know exactly where things are. But no, thank you so much for the time.
Thanks for the invite.
We hope to see you for the Coworking Europe conference in Vienna.
Yes,
Hopefully.
hopefully. If everything goes well. Yes,
It will. It will.
it will.
Thank you so much, André.
Thank you,
Take
Jean.
care. Take care.
Take care.